I clicked the button. That must mean we're live. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Monday Night Nuggets, and it's a show where usually we don't know what we're doing, but we try to act like we do anyway. And tonight's going to be a tech support show. So we definitely have no idea what we're doing, and we're just going to fake it. I will say we do have a slight time deadline to get out of here as the show ends on a normal time frame. So absolutely, positively, zero D-star questions. With that out of the way, yeah,
kids.
I do. You can ask a D-star question. We still probably don't know the answer.
We probably can't answer it, but yeah.
Yeah. With that out of the way, if you have a question, drop it in the chat. Put the word question in front of it to kind of draw attention to it. And we're just going to kind of vamp for a while until questions start showing up because I haven't seen any yet. But
I am
currently stuck. Awesome. I am currently stuck in Louisiana, and I say stuck because if I wasn't stuck here, I'd be stuck somewhere else. I just don't happen to have my own vehicle. I do have transportation, just not my own transportation. And I'm actually kind of disappointed. I was talking to Jim before the show started, and I said the best po' boy I've had came from Columbia, Maryland, which is not necessarily known for its Louisiana-style foods. And down here, I've been to two different places. And I must admit, one of them is authentic. It looks like it's already been condemned, so it should have really good food, but did not. So,
really, Freddie?
Did he ask you already today? He asked me this morning.
I wish somebody had told me. Yeah, the HTTP daemon keeps crashing.
Shane, again is not the right word. Still, it just hasn't been fixed yet.
Yep, it's offline again. I need tech support, Sparky. That's your wheelhouse. Yeah.
There's a tool called Monet that we should use. There's also another tool before Monet became popular called God, which seemed a little ominous. Grayman Poda. This is Tim. Tim has a YouTube channel called Grayman Poda where he does things about Poda. Why do they use CQ in the D-star address space? I guess because they had to put something there and that sounded good.
I'm fixing the toads.
Don, that moved. Don, I can answer that question very easily. We did a show all about this for about an hour and a half on this past Saturday, 9/2, on the Coffee and Ham Radio's channel. Very in-depth, very deep dive. And yes, we can explain the difference between Flex, Anon, and Sun. And the Sun answer was a little political.
All right, give it about a minute and it'll be back up.
So Ham Radio Crusader Freddie Mac was trying to connect and make an all-star to Fusion. I don't know the whole details of the video. You got to be subscribed to his channel to get it out. He was trying to make a video about connecting all-star to Fusion, I believe. And he was asking me about the site, and I referenced him over to Ask Jim, and I think he just waited until the Nuggets show to ask, which is fine.
I have not seen Freddie's new video. I saw it. I think it's coming out tomorrow. He's doing a premiere or a live stream about doing that.
Yes, sir, Shane. I lost a water pump. Well, I lost the pieces of a water pump. They went inside of the engine somewhere. And so we're getting that fixed.
Yes, Frank, it is the exact same page. The web server keeps crashing, and if the web server crashes, it causes other things to go. And it's quite annoying.
Well, Shane, ouch is interesting. I'm still way money ahead on getting the truck repaired versus buying a well-used pickup truck that is not as good as the one that I have. So I am happy. I've got nothing to worry about.
Brian, thank you for being a member for 7 months. Appreciate it, man.
Andy wants to know if his internet is janky tonight or if there is some buffering. Yes. These are I like these.
T.O. had some buffering right before. Isn't that like old people medicine? Didn't they used to advertise that on Lawrence Welk or something?
Buffering. Yeah. Not buffering. Buffering. It was.
Well, I know he said buffering. That's
sugar-coated ibuprofen.
Right.
So Brian said it's off his bucket list. What is off your bucket list, Brian?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe he bought a G4 pager.
Dave, you did not put the word question in front of your question, so I'm afraid I can't answer it. but you already know the answer anyway.
Yes, Dave. Wednesday night, 6 o'clock.
Apparently, Jim can answer it.
Well, Steve is going to be smart. We like Dave. Dave has a great collection of shirts.
Yes. Does Tio have squeaky cheese delivered directly to him? This is a Wisconsin thing. They're called cheese curds, and they're supposed to be very fresh. And if you get them at their appropriate level of freshness, they do indeed squeak. But if you get them at like the gas station or the grocery store, they're like a month old before they ever get there. And as a result of that, they're just like, ordinary everyday cheese cubes. So nothing special, but you got to go to like Ellsworth and get the official cheese curds, or go to your best friend's dairy and where they're made specifically.
See, Brian, we didn't get that, man.
I appreciate it. I understand the joke now, but it didn't make sense to me at the time. My fault. Totally my fault.
Scott, you're welcome. I'm enjoying the heck out of that pager.
Videos. I think I might want to get one myself. But then there's a feature today I found that it doesn't have that I really would like to have, and that's weather alert.
I don't think it has it. I haven't double checked. I'm 99.9% sure it doesn't have it, since weather's on VHF and this is a 700, 800 only. Shaney McShaneface can probably actually answer that question for sure.
KS6QFI in the chat. So Chris Radio and Life has a question. Older HF mobile style radio to look for. I would highly recommend the ICOM 7100 if you can get your hands on it, because it's HF and 270, so it's all band, all mode, and it's very easy to install in your car. It's designed to have an unattachable face, therefore it has a detachable face, and 100 watts, and works out really well. Let's see. We got some starred questions over here, and we already answered that one, so we'll go back.
Now, 7100 is not that old. I didn't think it was, 5 years, 6 years?
It's actually still a current product, which is kind of scary. Shane wants to know what the question was about the pager. Can the Unication G4 pager do, what is it, sane or same alerts?
Well, same. That's just their encoding system. Does the G4 do Weather Channel, which is down in VHF? It's 162 and change.
I wanted to throw off an alarm whenever it gets a weather alert, because right now I have to get out my Midlands for weather alerting, and a lot of other radios do it. Like the Kenwood TM281 has it. I think the 705 has it. Bunch of radios have it. What about the 706? 706 is the predecessor, because it was the 7100. Then he's asking about mobile. 7100 is the current. Then the 7000 is the one before that, which is the 706 with the color screen. Then the 706, and then the 703 was their QRP model of that radio. The 857D is a fantastic radio. It's no longer in current production, but technically, even though the 7100 is a current product, good luck getting one from the store, because they're all obtained already, and they haven't made any more.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything with VHF is going to, at least you can monitor Weather Channel as a memory.
Yeah.
The nice thing about
FT5DR has it. Yep.
The nice thing, so he says no, the G4 does not do weather alerts since it's not VHF.
And Barcheck says you have a G5 for VHF or a G3. So the G3, not the G4, and then the G5. Got it.
Yeah, and they have these broken out into different frequency packages. I got this specifically for P25 because that's all I listen to here, and I don't want a scanner that can scan VHF and UHF. I got 20 of those. But
Dave is asking, did the Ham Radio Deluxe booth say when they are coming out with the next update? They have been saying soon for a while. I did not hear whether they said it or not. I don't have that software, so I did not go by the booth.
I didn't
actually see them at Orlando.
They had a very, very small booth at Huntsville. They were there.
Okay.
I did not get a chance to talk to them. I actually forgot about it until much later. But according to their website, there's nothing new. It's coming soon. I like HRD. It does a lot of good stuff. I just wish they would update the interface to something that looks like it was made in the at least 2010s. Because the interface on it is so old.
Yeah, so Chris Radio and Life, just looking for a first HF radio, do not need to spend a lot. So when you say not a lot, we're only talking $600-ish for the 891 brand new. We didn't mention the 891 yet, but that's a good HF mobile, the Yaesu FT891. And then just about any radio that you have could be like, you could get a Zygu G90 as an HF portable, and that would have a built-in tuner, which is nice because the 891 doesn't have that. It's only 20 watts, but that's 400 range. Patty says, do you know you're both very much appreciated? Thanks for all the things you do for this awesome hobby. Patty, thank you very much. That comment is one of the reasons that keeps me going and keeps me making videos for this channel.
Why I do it. I appreciate it. Thank you, Patty. We really work at it, man. And I got to say, and you guys don't, unless you read all the comments that get posted on our videos, there's a lot of crap gets thrown too. When you do a video and somebody doesn't like the way you did it, even though they're an expert, and shit, I've never said I'm an expert.
Well, it's funny for a hobby is about communication. There are some people in this hobby that do not communicate well. One of the things that happens, and it's a thing, and I understand it. People say, "Why didn't you do it my way?" is essentially what the question comes down to, and they're not really saying it. They're kind of like trying to be part of the conversation, but that's the way it sounds when it comes across the other side. Like I'll put up an end fed halfway 5 feet off the ground for Nevis. Well, why didn't you put it in a tree? Well, because the video was about how Nevis works. So that's why I didn't put it up in the air higher, because I wasn't supposed to for the purpose of the video. Chuck's here.
Yeah, hey, Chuck.
I was seeing if my...
Chuck, your audio is completely cut out, man.
You were on the wrong mic for a minute, and then you did something when you moved it, and it just totally disappeared.
It was turned off. Better?
You're still on the wrong mic.
See,
you're very tinny.
Yeah, you are. You sound kind of like my ex-wife at the moment.
Okay. I will fix that. Hang on.
So Evan's asking, when will Gigaparts be putting the 7300 backpack on their website? I do not know. They announced it at Huntsville and showed it off. So I would assume soon would be the good answer.
Is it better now?
No, sir. You're still on the wrong mic, dude.
Check in StreamYard.
Yeah.
Oh, it might be in there, yeah.
Hey, you know what? It's not Jim that's having an audio problem this time.
Even though I did change up mics.
And somebody asked when I will be going to the East Coast. I think it was N1JUR. I'm trying to scroll and find it. The answer that I have for that is I need to go to Norfolk, Virginia. Number one, I've got 2 granddaughters in Norfolk, Virginia. And number 2, the USS Wisconsin is docked there. And Walt from Coastal Waves and Wires has invited me on board the ship to activate the station. And I have really had that on my bucket list to do for a long time, to go on one of those ships. I always love it when you contact a special event station on a ship and they say, "Welcome aboard the USS Wisconsin," or "Welcome aboard the International Space Station," or whatever the name of the craft is. I'm going to be the guy that does that.
Right.
I want to be on the other side of that.
How about now?
Better.
Yes, much better.
That's it now?
The video's not any better. You're still ugly, but your audio is on point, son.
Yeah. Well, I take after you.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Who is older? You're older than me, brother.
Yeah,
As witnessed by much less gray in my beard.
Oh, that has nothing to do with anything. Look how gray T.O.
And all the hair I still have. All the hair I still have.
That's the actual reason why I shaved my beard off, because it was all gray.
Yeah. I lost most of my
Trying to bottom
hair
up.
before it got really gray.
So Frank is saying one of you two need to talk to Greg, the EGG, and get his how-to on how to not be as delayed on stream. He gets it down to 3 seconds delay somehow. And which delay are you talking about?
Isn't Greg an audio engineer?
Yeah.
Broadcast
He's been
engineer
on
or
the show
something?
before. Yeah, he's been on the show.
Yeah,
before.
I know who Greg is, yeah, but I was thinking he's an audio engineer.
I don't know.
So I've got a setting in YouTube that's called ultra low latency. That's the lowest latency setting you can get, and I always turn that on. But we can talk to Greg. We'll have him back on the show again.
I think he's coming up, scheduled. I don't remember when.
Is he talking about the delay from us to YouTube? That delay? Because there's always going to be a delay there. I don't think you can change that, right?
Yeah, several minutes or several seconds. I mean, of delay. Yeah.
Let's see.
And sometimes StreamYard is a little laggy.
About 4 seconds.
So if you watch the picture here in the back of my, right up here, this is our stream live on YouTube and this TV back here. And you'll see that
waving.
you'll see that there is a pretty awesome lag.
And there's my wave. Yeah.
There, I mean, it's like 5 seconds or better. Yeah.
Chrissy is saying that she has a TS430 for sale, N6KV. Reach out to her on QRZ to get her email address or ask her in the chat and see what you get hands on that TS430. That was actually a mobile rig back in its day.
Was it?
And my TS570, which was the same form factor, actually had a belt clip.
That's my TS570.
Mine had a clip too. The TS430.
Now,
I had a TS430S, and it had a clip. It had the
shockingly
the
big
side.
radio to think about wearing on your
heavy.
belt.
They're heavy.
Todd, Digital Dreamer, is any of the radio manufacturers coming out with a 100-watt all-mode transceiver with a waterfall for POTA anytime soon? I guess you're talking about the 991A. I guess that's the current latest model because there isn't anything that does all band, all mode besides the 705, which isn't 100 watt.
Well, yours doesn't have the waterfall. Is that what he wanted?
Right.
Yeah, I think he wants a waterfall and a 100 water because like the 891, which is a great radio, doesn't have waterfall, and the 991 is considerably bigger.
Right.
We don't have a pipeline to any of these. We don't have a pipeline to any of these radio manufacturers, y'all. Not at all.
Yeah.
The
they specifically
991
will not tell us.
The 991 is slightly smaller than a 7300.
Yeah.
I mean, just like a quarter inch or half inch or something.
But the screen on the 7300 is way better.
Yeah. So I will tell you that using deductive reasoning, Yaesu has been making a new radio every year for the past, I don't know, 3-4 years. 5 years. And I think that they have two choices of radio coming out next. One is 100-watt mobile, and the other one is all-band, all-mode, 710 FTDX10 size form factor radio. Those should be the next two, I believe. I have absolutely zero insider knowledge.
Still a replacement for the 857 too. So, or is that the 100-watt you were talking about?
I don't know. I mean, why wouldn't they have made the 891 an all mode radio if they wanted to?
I don't know. That would have been the thing at the time, really.
Yeah.
And you said putting a waterfall, Todd. You said POTA. I don't count that as really hiking. I take mine on POTA all the time. You got to be specific.
Ronnie Julian's asking, have I done anything with the Pi hat that he sent me? No, I have not. It is in a box in the back of my truck, and my truck is over there.
On the IL. Used to be called the DL, but now it's the IL. The IR, Injured Reserve. Okay.
Injured Reserve.
Injured Reserve. And then Dan is asking Jim a question.
I don't know, Dan. I hadn't thought about it. How big is the Chattanooga Hamfest in relation to the Huntsville Hamfest?
How far is it from you, Jim?
Chattanooga is probably 5 or 6 hours.
Oh, that's
yeah, it'd have to be pretty big to make that drive.
Right. I mean, if it's the size of the Montgomery Hamfest, which is only 30 miles from me, that barely rates a 1 hour walk through and I'm done. So I would be very disappointed if I drove to Chattanooga and,
Yeah. And then
I'm not opposed to it.
It looks like it's for Chuck.
I'm thinking about going to the Stone Mountain Hamfest, which I think is coming up next month.
I would say the Mercury is probably the best. I mean, they all will do 10 meters, but the Mercury probably gets the best. Is the Mercury? Yeah, the Mercury probably is the best overall. Yeah. It's just a dipole.
That's the linked dipole. So you could cut it specifically for 10 meters and then link your next band higher. Lower. You know what I mean?
You do. Yeah. Yeah, you go lower, it gets longer.
Right.
And 10, the measurements that I give in there for that, the first one I think is 10. It's 10, 15, 20, and 40, I think.
You're good. All right, Patty, did other Andy get his bizarre internet resolved? That's between Jim and Superhawk.
Yes, he did.
Iowa Hank.
Yes, he did. Not Iowa Hank. Oh, I don't know if Iowa Hank ever helped him or not. He said something about he was going to, but so the way the cable modem was rigged, Andy just needed to put a switch in. It was natting correctly on one port, but the other 3 ports of the LAN part of that modem router were bridged through all the way.
Some weird configuration, yeah.
Yeah, so it was getting public addresses on those ports. So he had one port on that router that was actually a LAN port natted on 192.168.1, I think. And the other 3 were getting public IP addresses. The whole thing was just squirrelier than squirrely. But he went and bought a $30 switch at Best Buy, showed him how to wire it up, and
Aces.
good to go. Yeah.
Squeaky Toy Killer and Me. That sounds like Dog and Me. Something cheaper and better than a 705 can't be too hard. I would love to see a mobile size form factor like the 706, 7100, 891, 857 with a waterfall and a tuner and a color screen, which I guess would be a 100-watt G90.
It just that question has a lot of different things to it too. It's like, what do you want to actually use it for?
Right.
I mean, it's kind of open.
When can
Yeah,
we expect
Don-
the 2-meter Moxon to start shipping? 3 months?
Don, it's going to be a little. I'm kind of backlogged on stuff I have to get out. Things that people sent me that I need to get out in a timely fashion. But I need to work on the threads. Otherwise, it's pretty much ready. Other than that, and we need to get a quote on what it costs to print it. We might change one thing from my design also.
This is actually a good question too. Jim is at the soda machine. They're sold out of Diet Dr. Pepper, not just Diet Dr. Pepper, but East Alabama Diet Dr. Pepper. Isn't that right? East Alabama?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's
That's
a difference
correct.
between East and West Alabama.
Well, no,
What is his
Birmingham.
next choice?
Birmingham is the other bottling plant, and it's different than the stuff.
Oh man, it's different.
I think at that
Different
point,
water.
Jim will die of dehydration.
Pretty much. I can tolerate a Diet Mountain Dew or a Diet Pepsi in an emergency sitch. If they had RC down here, I'd drink RC once in a while too. But
Do they still make RC?
yeah, I think it's very regional. I don't
flat.
know. A&W
used to
root
like
beer is also a good choice, and not Diet A&W, real A&W root beer.
Real thing. We used to make that at A&W when I worked there. Had this big old stainless steel vat in the back. You pour all the stuff in there and mix it.
Oh yeah.
How
A&W
do
root
you
beer
follow
is
the
could
Mr.
never-
Pibb side of the debate?
never,
close.
ever. Diet Dr.
No.
Czech is an abomination before the Lord, son, and you will burn in hell fires for eternity.
They don't make
What?
Diet Mr. Pibb.
I don't know if they make Diet Mr. Pibb, but they make Diet Czech, Dr. Czech, which is a
Well.
local grocery store. The Winn-Dixie brand of Dr. Pepper is called Dr. Czech. Or it might be Walmart. I don't know, and it's horrible.
Is the
It
Toad
is.
site not up yet, Jim?
I don't know. I'm not trying to go to it. We're doing a live stream. I'm not troubleshooting the damn Toad site again.
Is Toads is down?
If it's down, it's going to stay down because it just keeps crashing.
Yeah. Tab was like the original diet soda. It was
Yeah.
diet before diet was put on sodas. You just
Yep.
kind of had to know it was diet.
It's down.
Have we
The
tried
reflector
Log
should
Pro
still
and
work.
software?
You should still be able to get into Toad's digital. That will affect the D-Star piece, but the DMR and Fusion should still work unless the whole entire site is crapped out.
Not sponsored. Have
Don't
you
know
tried Log for OM software? I have not.
No, I haven't either.
Dr. Pepper Zero, huh?
I use CQR Log on Linux.
See, Shane knows the truth. Dr. Czech and Dr. Thunder are from the devil. That's right. Fresca's not bad. Not real common over here. They do
Right.
have it in the grocery store occasionally.
That's a ham radio crash course reference.
Fresca.
Oh, is it?
Holy
I actually
cow.
have drank Fresca.
The base is 3D printed, so as long as it's the plastic part, it used to be the older ones were 3D printed. As long as it's the plastic part that's spinning, and the antenna and the center pin are connected, then you don't have a problem. I'd put that on an SWR analyzer to make sure that it's still giving you some kind of SWR. It's going to give you a different reading because you're removing the counterpoise, which is yourself. But an SWR less than infinite is what you want.
I have 3 of them, but I don't think any of them are here. They're all out in the shop. Or I'd check that.
James Whited? I don't want to say Whitehead because there's no H in that. I don't know how to pronounce that. Recommendations for a good 1.25 meter capable radio. I've discovered a rather active repeater on that band near me. My UVK5 isn't really quite up to par for that. I don't know. The only one I know that does it is the 9700.
No,
The
there's some
8900? The ASU 8900? That's a 4-bander, Chuck. What 4 bands on the 8900?
an HT or a mobile size radio.
The Yaesu FT 8900.
I don't know if it does or not.
Is 1.25? Is that 220?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, there's a few HTs out there that do it.
Yeah, there's several popping up in the chat.
Yeah.
There it is. Grayman says 10627. So no, it doesn't. The 8900 does not do it. Don is saying the TYT 9000 does. D74, D75.
Okay. All right. I'm taking my hands away.
So many awesome answers to click on.
Right. Yeah. There's another one for the 9000 and another one for the VX6R. There's no 220 around here at all. I don't think there's even a repeat. I know there's not a repeater here in this area.
He says it's just white with a D at the end, like what you do when you make a mistake on paper with me and correct it. So white D. Or is it a silent D? I'm still confused. But that's me. I take full responsibility for being confused.
I'm going to go with whited.
Like you whited out?
Yeah,
White out?
you whited out. That's what I think he's saying.
There's white
Okay.
out.
Yaesu that's still in production. Yaesu takes away all the good bands.
Oh, man, we need 8 for that.
Tap on it. Tap on that meter, and it should change from S meter to power meter to SWR to whatever.
Does it?
And then
Okay, so it
you
works
can
like
hit
the
menu, and there
9700.
should be a meter button also. Did you break it? No. There's like 9 different ways to see the meters in that radio, and then there's 2 different ways to show the scope. You can have a big scope with half your meter, or a little scope with 3/4 of your meter.
See,
Yes,
Brian,
Brian. You have to
that's
put
a
it together
joke.
and solder.
That's a joke this time. I know that's a joke because he has a smiley face at the end of that, so I'm aware that that is a joke.
That's how you do it. Jody, I get jokes.
Jody, I like that one. That's good. That's excellent.
Ooh. Chrissy, if I didn't already have an 818, I'd be interested, but I already have one. So she has an 817, so message her, N6KV on the Z.
What is the 817, Chuck?
It's
It's
the
the
original. It's the original
Yeah.
818, right? Just the older version.
The hell is the 818?
It's
I've
a-
never.
The QRP one.
I think the
Satellite
817 is
based.
5 watts and the 818 is 6 watts. I think that
6,
might be
yeah.
a difference.
Yeah,
But
they
it's
just-
all band, all mode, tiny little
Okay,
form factor
okay.
radio.
Okay.
But it's mobile form factor, so it's long instead of wide like the 705. And it's
Okay.
actually really, really thin.
Yeah,
That's
they're
right, Jason.
tiny.
Brian, the good part about the kit is there's not a nickel's worth of soldering in that kit, dude. Really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're soldering. All your soldering is a couple of
we-
crimp-ons. You can crimp them on. You don't have to solder them. You have to solder
Yeah, we won't
the
judge you.
center.
You could
Hey,
get
we
butt
won't judge you.
connectors even, or
Out
Wagos.
loud or
Use
in
Wago
public.
connectors and completely make it toolless.
Squeaky Toy Killer and me is saying, I'm past young in the body, discovered hotspots, and thought I'd give it a go. My club doesn't want to know about cheating internet, so I'm on my own here. What your club is saying is they don't want to learn about
Right.
cheating internet. And we have lots of videos and lots of live streams, and we have a room on the Toads Discord. There's a link at the top of the chat over there for you to join us. And
That guy, this guy, not that
Yep.
guy. Bless his heart.
right.
Ape has done several videos on it. Steve has a great explainer on DMR talk groups using index cards.
Yeah, good metaphor.
I've
It
done a
was.
hotspot,
It was
but
really
I'm not
good.
good at it. So
Yeah. Bradley Basic, Doc Brad, $4.99 super chat. Happy Labor Day, boys. ISS passes over me next Monday, 8:52 to 8:53. Oh, yeah. So he's saying hint, because we actually are doing a show. What's your time zone, Doc? I don't
Doc,
remember.
are you East Coast? I think he's
Because if you're East Coast, then it will be during showtime. We're actually going to be live demoing an RFinder and the RFinder satellite tracker device that Bob from RFinder has made next Monday. So thank you for the hint. And then, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Thank you, Brad. We got another one that came in. I got to raise money a lot on medical bills. All right. Thank you very much, Chrissy. She's got those 2 radios for sale. Make sure you connect up with her.
what was she? Where was she?
What's that, Chuck?
Where was she selling those at?
I believe she's in California with a 6 call.
Yeah.
I think she's in.
She's
is
just
she in Oregon.
mentioning them here, and I'm just giving her some publicity.
I was just
So
wondering if she had them listed
N1JUR,
someplace.
fun for truck replacement, $10. Yep, that'll get me a Matchbox car. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. And then I was looking for there was a question there that came in.
I'm keeping up. There's a lot.
That one.
Oh, I missed him.
In all your parks you've activated so far, any of them reach a kilo? 2. Rice Lake State Park in Minnesota, I did a kilo in a weekend, and that was a lot of fun. And then just this past month, we did Montesano State Park, and we did a kilo as a club with the Kilo Tango Zero Alpha Delta Sierra. I wasn't able to get a personal kilo there, although I do have like 800 contacts in that park. So next year, I'll be able to add them all up and make it happen. Houston Airport, Todd.
Florida,
Close.
Todd, you're in the wrong state, son.
Yeah, 1 state over.
Not from Florida.
No, from Louisiana.
From you, yeah. Edward Griffin made an excellent point. And you do you, man. Who was that was talking about the hotspot? And because that comment
The
scrolled.
dog, Squeaky Toy Killer and me.
Yeah. Listen, I don't even mess with the local club because I don't really have time, honestly. But, man, the ham radio's got something for everybody. And if they don't want to be involved in it, just move on. Right.
So in my direct area, there was a club that liked to argue about, procedural nitpicking type stuff. And we tried to get it fixed. We tried to do, actual ham stuff and enjoy the hobby, and they just didn't have it. So we started a second club, and that club has been fantastic. We've done summer field day, winter field day, nets. We've done all kinds of interesting activities. We've built hotspots and got on DMR. We've built antennas. There's another club that's like an hour and a half away. And they meet it's Minnetonka, Minnesota. I guess they're not an hour and a half away anymore. They're several states away at this point.
You think?
Those 2 clubs meet in the same building on the same day at 2 different times. The first club is a ham radio club, and they've got a radio station and an antenna and a whole setup. And I've never been to their club meeting, but it sounds like a great club. The second club is like a builders and tinkerers club. And it's funny that there's 2 different clubs that are ham related, ham adjacent, that meet in the same building on the same day at 2 different times, one right after the other. So if you don't like Club A, go to Club B. If you don't like Club B, join us on Toads. You can be a part of Kilo Tango Zero Alpha Delta Sierra.
Todd was in Vegas.
Guess we were not going to find out what happened there.
No, what happens there stays there.
Maybe a private discussion later.
And Tim has a very good point, which is basically what T.O. just said. Rethink the club.
Yep. There's a thing that happens when you get older. You stop wanting to take on new knowledge and you feel threatened that the older knowledge is going to disappear from your head magically somehow, or that part of the hobby is going to disappear because the newer parts are taking it over. And this has happened all along the history of ham radio. First, AM is killing CW, and then single sideband is killing AM, and then FT8 is going to take over the world, and it's just not.
That damn CW is killing my spark gap.
Right? No, the government killed Spark Gap.
Get off my lawn.
Jim, did you notice I put down the guy, the contester guy from the Netherlands? Did you see my? Oh, that was for you. So you turn that amp on and see if you could get him.
No, I saw the post, but I was unavailable for radioing at that time.
I got him, 150 watts.
Nice. I was watching my programs, Chuck. Okay.
All right.
Yoko Ono makes listening to FT8 at full volume sound pleasant.
Not a fan, I guess.
And then this is a question for Jim, probably. I probably think you go an Amazon device for that.
Yep. So there's a lot of ways to do that. The easiest way, a little bit of this depends on your radio. So with a 7300, for sure, a 9700 and a 7610, because it's all I've done it with. I think it does it on 981 too. You put an Amazon smart plug on your power supply, and then you can turn that on from your phone or by telling your Amazon device to turn on the power. And that works great, and that's what I did for several years. And then I remoted into a computer using Ham Radio Deluxe on the computer that was located here, and it will actually turn on the radio. So that's kind of your problem with some radios, is you may or may not be able to turn them on that way. Some radios, remember the power switch from the last time they were actually on. So just killing your power supply and turning it back on may turn the radio back on. I think 706 does that.
Yeah.
But like the three ICOM radios, 9700, 7300, 7610, Ham Radio Deluxe will turn them on over USB. And so will, Steve, we've done, I think FL Rig will do it. And I think, what's that other one we did? Is it WF? FL Rig is what
WFU,
we
maybe?
do it.
FL Rig.
WFU, yes. And all those programs, all that communicate over USB, so you have to have a computer that's on, and you remote into that computer, tell Amazon to turn on your device, and then you fire up FL Rig or Ham Radio Deluxe or whatever, and it will kick the radio actually on. Your mileage may vary. There's about 30 ways to do it, but it's easily doable with not much more than a $15 smart plug.
So LC's saying, why turn them off? So there's the primary reason, and LC's not going to like this answer. It's a government regulation that you have to be able to shut down your station remotely if you're going to operate remotely.
Right.
The second one is I have a couple of radios that when they get a little bit of wonky SWR, they get stuck in transmit mode. And they stop listening to all commands to do anything. So I need a chunk, big kill switch to shut them off and chunk, turn them back on again.
I just like having the ability to make sure everything is off. And I bought, as a matter of fact, I haven't got it hooked up yet, but I bought this little dingus at Huntsville from our friends at Ham Source. This is not a sponsored video. I actually bought this with real money. And this is an antenna disconnect. So when 12 volts is gone, this disconnects the antenna. When 12 volts is on, you have an antenna. So between the Amazon device turning off the power supply and then this losing power and disconnecting the antenna, we have pretty good thunderstorms here. I don't want the radio on. Yep. Yes.
Oh, nice.
This only closes on 12 volts. So your antenna, when there's no power, your antenna is out of the loop.
And then there's a, you've got that power gate. Is that what it's called? That'll let you run UPS, kind of?
I don't have a power gate. I've got the Astron one, which is the BB30M, which I don't have plugged in yet, but because I've rearranged things about 10 times since I bought it. But you can hook up a battery to it, and then your power supply. And if your power goes out, the BB30M, which is like a power gate, will swap over to battery automatically. And the upside is, and I'm sure PowerGate does it too, the BB30M, the Astron dingus, will recharge the battery at the same time.
Nice.
So when you're not using the battery, it's pumping voltage into the battery. Now, your mileage may vary. Some of y'all going to leave snark in the comments. I want to cut this off now. It says it only is good for lead acid batteries, but it will recharge LiFePos. It just won't recharge a LiFePo fully.
All the way. Right.
Completely. Yeah.
But it's better than nothing. So
Would
anyway.
the regulation I'm talking about from the FCC apply to power supply? Just applies to trans. Leave your you apply. You need to be able to remotely kill the transmitter definitively. So like some repeaters have a DTMF code you can put in that takes them out of repeater mode. That's not off. That's disabling functionality. There's a difference there, and the government doesn't do nuance very well.
Right.
Tim wants to know if that's a lightning arrestor, which is a good question.
Probably not.
I don't think it is. I have a separate lightning arrestor outside at the antenna. So, and and Tim, you know this. You worked in electronics. Lightning hits close enough. None of this is really going to matter.
Right.
Yeah, I doubt it disconnects far enough to do any good.
Well, again, it's kind of a function of how close the bazillion voltage spike is, right?
Yeah, Callum's got a video where he talks about a lightning strike that was adjacent to his shack. I don't know how close it was, but it was not a direct hit. And it took out a lot of, as far as I know, it wasn't a direct hit. It took out a lot of stuff in his shack. And then he said that it even took out stuff that was unplugged, sitting in a box that no longer works. So I don't mess with lightning anymore.
Yeah, I mean, all the fancy electronics in the world are not going to protect you if you get a direct strike. It's,
right.
But the odds of a direct strike against someone are low.
God, we invited them. That's the problem. And
non-zero. Go ahead.
Now they won't get back out. What do they call it? The camel in the tent?
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know. How did we get to camels in the tent?
Now, once the camel's in the tent, you can't get it out.
Hump's too tall.
And as far as
I don't
smart
know why.
plugs, the biggest thing with smart plugs is, you want one that maybe doesn't throw out a lot of RFI. And there's 800 brands of smart plugs on Amazon, and they're all about 15 or 20 bucks a piece.
So Ham Till It Hurts is saying that the radio disconnect dingus that you have grounds both the connector and the shield on the coax.
Okay.
So
This
better
was the
than
first
zero.
time I just opened the box.
Oh,
I
you just
have-
got that?
No, I got it at the show. It's just been sitting in the
Oh,
box over here on the
that's right.
stack of things I need to do.
yeah, so Don is saying insurance policy is best for lightning, post-lightning replacement. That is true. Your homeowner's insurance will cover a large portion of that stuff, but ARRL also has a very affordable, I think it's like $200 per year, ham radio shack insurance policy that will cover repeaters and towers and antennas and radio equipment. And we have to do that for all of our professional installations of repeaters at government locations. They always say, do you have an insurance policy? Yes, we do. It's from ARRL, and here's a copy of the policy binder. And
Oh,
Don's pointing
Don-
out that Kyle,
yes.
A0Z, has suggestions for remote power, and he's got a couple of videos on that.
Yeah, and so does Michael from Flex, because his
But
whole
does-
shack is remote.
But does it all pertain to Flex though, or is it the same?
No, not really. I
I think
mean,
you're
at the end
smart
of
enough
the
to
day,
figure it out.
it's power, Chuck. The radio is still a radio. It's
Somebody was saying that their Flex does everything, and then you're talking about certain radios work with it. So
What?
that's all I was getting to.
I think he's talking about like different modes. Flex will do
Was he
like
snarking?
CW and voice.
Was he
and
snarking?
FT.
No, I was just saying that you said earlier that you knew that certain radios worked with what you have,
yeah, because I did them. That's how I knew. Other than that, I didn't know.
and then
And
Gyms have to
ironic-
stick together.
The
I
Flex
know-
does not work that way.
I know Kyle's stuff is all Flex kind of oriented. So I'm just wondering if it was
I have to have. Well, your conflating flex with power. It's not the same thing. The difference is the radio, Chuck. So like the flex is an electronic power on and power off. And when I turn on the power supply, the flex doesn't come on. But flex has a connector on the back that if you short it together, it does a soft power on or power off appropriately for the radio. Because the radio actually boots off of an SD card as opposed to hardware like with a Yaesu or an ICOM or whatever. So I had to put an extra dingus on that. And I did a video on those. It's one of those little remote, those Amazon cards that are relays. So they Wi-Fi to your network, and they're smart devices. They show up on your Amazon device, and all it does is open or close a relay, and I can make it normally open or normally close. So I just tell the Amazon device to turn flex on, and that opens that thing up and turns the radio on after the power supply.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of and even older ones, and I don't know about Yaesu's, Chuck, because I've never used a Yaesu. I think I did it with my 991, but I think they'll come on over USB as well. I'm almost positive the 991.
I think so.
But it's just power at the end of the day.
Right.
I do. Entropy, man. The more it gets hot, the shorter it'll live. I like the flux. The flux. I got the flux.
Any more questions? Lead them off with question in the chat, and we will get to them. So far, you guys have had some really awesome questions. I really appreciate it. And Jim, you mentioned before the stream started, we only have, what, 6 tumblers left?
5.
5 tumblers left. 5. And these are the OD green tumblers.
Yes. And we'll be getting a different color, so if you're jonesing for a green one, you need to be ordering one.
Yep. Blue is gone. OD green is gone. You better get them before we make the pink run.
Well, I was going to say, as far as I know, we're not buying pink.
Well, we're going to run out of color soon and have no choice.
Well, we could go back and do. We could go back
Don't they have
and
rainbow
redo
colors
blue.
or something.
We're also low on
Really?
Mercuries and Apollos.
I think we're down to 1 Apollo at the moment because I've sold a couple today. I got postage coming for you, Chuck.
Okay. Okay.
Oh boy.
Oh, LC, I totally knew what you were talking about. I get it. Freddie, I have not gotten them yet. If you send them to my Texas address, I haven't yet made it to Texas. But when I get there, I'll see them.
I see the chat's gotten quirky. In
I
it.
got some stickers from Freddie. Thank you, Freddie. It's already
Yes,
on
Freddie,
one
I
of my
got
masks
Freddie, I
already.
got stickers too. Thank you.
I covered up one I took off.
Can you hang a dipole antenna vertical? Yes, you can. And it actually does some really interesting things. A lot of 2-meter antennas that are dipoles are hung vertically and fed in the center. It gets to be kind of hard when you do like a 40-meter dipole to get, up 65 foot up in the air with your coax line.
Hang it with the ground side
Hey,
down.
Freddie, no worries. Like I said, I will get them when I get to Texas. It's a mail service, and it's designed to hold mail for me. So if you send them, I got them, and I will get them when I get there. So your smaller antennas might work a little bit better for that, just because, physics, and I mean like installation physics, not antenna physics.
And you want to do the braid side down, right? Because that's
Yeah. Now, another way that you can do it is an inverted L. Well, no, a verted L, sorry, where you put the counterpoise along the ground and then the radiator upwards.
I'll be right back.
I try.
I think he's.
And Steve's frozen.
Embarrassing on his hot mic.
That's why I took him out before he said anything. Like, Kathy, underwear's too tight. Okay, boy, oh boy. A Christmas tumbler. See, Steve is frozen for me. I don't know if he's moving for y'all, but I got no Steve. Yes, they do have a Mardi Gras color tumbler, but they won't put logos on a lot of them. We will probably be doing, I think, maybe black. I'm not sure. We've talked about pink. Steve, are you back? We've talked
I
about
back?
pink, but we have to buy them. Yeah, you're back. We have to buy them by the case, y'all. And I really, 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 really don't want a box of pink tumblers that 5 of y'all are going to buy. And these aren't support breast cancer or nothing like that. They're just freaking pink. That's all. I mean, if you want to get a pink tumbler and say, I support breast cancer because I drink beer out of a pink tumbler, rock on. But I don't know that we can unload 30 tumblers that are pink.
Well, no, we'll just do
So-
them as giveaways, and y'all going to get them whether you like it or not.
Yeah, that's right. So
Ryan,
you guys
I
think
sure
about that
hope-
when you're going, you want a pink tumbler.
Ryan, I sure hope I am not stuck here at Christmas time. I will make a solution to that problem.
Right. Izzo, that's a darn good question. I don't know that he's been yurting recently either.
I built an antenna today.
Do you yurt, son? Do you even yurt anymore?
We're going to, yes. The gal kept telling the county that she was holding school there, and they shut her down after. I'm like, I wouldn't be telling anybody that. So they shut her down. So we're a little behind. We still got work to do there, though. So I built an antenna today. Is what I was doing. Something we
What kind of
actually
antenna did you
might
build?
offer. Well, we don't have any verticals in our lineup, and we're working on a vertical, and it was kind of cool because the guy in the Netherlands was like two or three S units, maybe 4 S units lower than my Yagi on this antenna. So it's pretty good. It was pretty good, actually.
Nice.
I made a couple
Right, exactly.
no, I went and got water so I could do that later. It's hot here. This room gets the afternoon sun, so it's not the best room late in the afternoon.
Where did that question go? It was Randall.
I started some more. Yes, Randall, it probably would work better that way. You might actually
yes,
reach
Randall was-
Jason.
Randall was asking about a horizontal DX commander. The short answer to that is yes, but the harder part is you've got to get the vertical part 4 or 5 feet off the ground, and then you have to do something with the radials. I guess just lay them out.
Well, it's basically a fan dipole is what it is.
Yeah, he wants to mount it horizontal for
Mm-hmm.
Nevis. So you could, but you want to put the radials fanning out away from Jason, so you kind of have a reflector pointing you in that direction. If I'm getting that right.
Yeah.
I mean, the easiest thing would be a ham stick. Wouldn't it?
End-fed half wave.
Or an end fed that's very shallow. Yeah.
Yeah, take an end-fed half wave, go down to Tractor Supply and get a couple of those plastic temporary fence posts, the step-in posts. That's what I do. And like 6 of them, and that'll hold that antenna 3.5, 4 feet off the ground all the way out horizontal, and you'll make lots of nice local one hop connections.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a couple of those here someplace, but I don't know what I did with them. It might be out in my trailer, so I could show them.
What is the benefit of a YSF node? We just did a video on that Nuggets episode on the HRI 200 or whatever it was with the FTM 400.
It depends on what he's asking, and I'm not sure he understands the difference. Squeaky, you're kind of new, right? Yet, so to digital stuff. YSF is non-Yaesu radios. Oh, geez, let me back up. Wires X is a node, and that connects only Yaesu gear. There are bridge systems that connect Wires X nodes to YSF talk groups. They're essentially the same thing. If you have a hotspot, you can connect to a metric ton of YSF talk groups that are hosted on servers like Toads, but it's not technically a node. When we talk about a node, we mean a Wires X node with a Yaesu radio connected to a Dingus. So just having a hotspot doesn't give you a Yaesu fusion, a YSF room or anything. It just lets you connect to YSF rooms. The benefits of you having one, absolutely none, unless you got a whole bunch of friends and you want your own
Do a
talk
private
group you want to
connection.
use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, to
Because you
make
don't
it
have to
even
have it
more
listed or
confusing-
anything. You can just be in secret.
To make it even more confusing, you can connect to a room that is bridged to Wires X.
That's what I was
Or
saying.
you can connect
Yeah.
wires edge to a bridge room and get out to
The
rest of the
YSF
world.
side. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where start off slow, build into it, experiment often, and the worst you have to do is start over from scratch, which is not very hard. Factory reset the radio and download a new image of Pi-Star and put it on your Raspberry Pi. Tim, everybody's going to have their DX Commander built before
Tim,
Jason.
Yeah,
I've
that
I've
won't be
built
hard.
2 DX commanders before Jason.
I built two from scratch, and then
Did
a
you do
third
a
Can I
DX?
watch
from them.
Did you do a DX commander?
I built 2 from scratch before I ever bought one.
Okay, I didn't know you had
I
a.
built my first one on a Spider Beams 12-meter pole, so it's 6 inches shorter than the 40 element. So I just stuck my 40 element straight up with some fairly heavy wire, and then I actually ran 80 off of it also for a while in an inverted L, and it did pretty good actually.
Yeah.
Steve, I'm
Ed's
sorry. Go
asking,
ahead.
where can I watch the new version of Battlestar Galactica for free? Free is an interesting thing. Free with ads on Putlocker. That's a website you can look at, but I have no idea the legalities of it. You're kind of on your own on that one. Let's see. Easier to use than DMR, no code plug needed. That is true.
Amen.
Can you make a point-to-point private conversation? Like on DMR, I can put your private ID directly in my DMR radio, and we can
Yes.
talk to each other on our hotspot. On YSF, can I still talk to you directly without anybody else
Mm-hmm.
non-promiscuously listening in?
Yes.
I have not done that. Jim wants to know what we are working on. Jim, we are working on my truck, which is currently in the shop with all of my radio gear in it. So we ain't working on nothing. We're just chatting and answering questions and shooting the breeze. And welcome to the club. Nice. Handful it hurts.
That is, you can tell he watches the show. That is
Yes.
probably true.
The wire's probably falling apart already from sitting out in the
Anyone
sun.
using an open spot, wouldn't an app offer more fun than having to change talk groups via the web? That's a Jim question.
You can change talk groups via your radio using DTMF codes with the open spot.
Unless
Or just
somebody's
turn the
talking,
dial.
right?
The only way you need to web into the open spot is if you want to change modes. If you want to change from DMR to Fusion or D-Star or something, then you're going to have to get into the web interface to do that. I think you can do it through DTMF codes if you set it up. I don't do it, so I don't know.
Is there a trick when the guys are never shut up? Because when they're talking, you can't leave, right?
Yeah, there's a trick on Pi-Star.
On
Yeah.
Pi-Star.
You can go into the Pi-Star web interface and shut up.
Yeah, you just unlink the room and it'll kill them.
And we did that using Chip W0CHP's improved Pi-Star dashboard. Highly recommended. We did that on Nuggets a while back, and within like the first 2 minutes of the show, we proved that it worked. And then we spent the next 2 hours on D-Star again and had problems.
Right, and everything went to
But
crap
D-Star's
right
so
after
easy.
that.
I still haven't found a use for D-Star. Do you tune your DX Commander for resonance or for low SWR? I'm having troubles. So that's an interesting question. You have to kind of define resonance and SWR in your own head first off. And all of the different elements on the DX Commander interact with each other. So what I did was I went by Cal's math in the instructions and cut the wires to the lengths that he said, and a little fudge factor because my kids were helping me build mine. And I had a imperial tape measure that was only 25 foot. So I had to, like measure out 25 foot and then realign and measure out again. So, I'm within that much of what the measurement should be. Put it up in the air and I'm happy with it. Run the internal tuner on my radio and not a problem. A lot of the stuff's within spec.
The low SWR will be fairly close to resonant anyhow. It's usually not the same, but
Right.
just your radio will like low SWR.
Admittance is the imaginary part of impedance, Abe.
Admitting is the first part of solving a problem.
No, that's actually a question on the extra test.
Oh, you just remembered that, huh?
Yep. And Tim, the answer to that is yes. It's just it's asterisk.
Asterisk, yeah.
Yep.
And then Don, isn't All-Star better than DMR anyway? Yes, for specific sizes of DMR.
Greater than 0, but less than infinity.
Yeah. Ed's asking, can we get a custom-made tumbler with the logo, with the Coffee and Ham Radios logo? And what do you want, like your call sign on it? That would be a one-off,
No.
higher-priced item.
That would
If
be
we
a
did
lot
do it.
higher than $25. Yeah. That would be very one-off. Oh man, we could do those. I mean, I'd have to check with Arctic and see what they're going to say, but yeah, they already have our artwork in my
It's a quantity
account.
one custom. That's the problem.
Yeah, it'll probably be more like $40 or $50, but yeah.
So not necessarily worth it, but if it's your jam, we're happy to support you. Ray, has there been any
we
news
could
on the
do it.
possibility of SMS returning to APRS? There has been some new development on that front. It's that running the SMS GTE server. Nope, I'm done. I'm not gonna. It's not where. So that leaves the void files have left already. I don't know, but I'm also not the expert in that space yet. Dan, I had a Hustler 6 BTV. Oh,
Sorry.
no worries. I had a Hustler 6 BTV on a tilt base with buried radios, and I forgot that I had it on the ground, and I was still making contacts. My friend called it the Metcalf array. Nice.
That's
I think
excellent,
Chuck
Dan.
did something similar too. I like that.
Have you guys? What's the guy's name? Ria? No, what's the Russian gal?
Raisa.
Raisa. She's done 2 videos now where she's buried. The first one, she buried her antenna in the sand, and it was like 2 S units difference. Or the first one, she was still making contacts. The second one, she buried it in dirt away from a beach, and then also put up a dipole, and it was like 2 S units difference between the two to the same person. With it now, I don't know the distances. That I'm sure that has something to do with it all too. But she was still making
What's the
contacts.
math on that? 2 S units is 6 dB?
Yeah, something like that.
I don't remember. Yeah.
So it wasn't
Eduardo.
Yeah, I think that's
So
right.
DMR suggestion about thing
cheapo.
RR. You get what you pay for. Like $25.
You're breaking up, son.
Yeah.
The best DMR
Nice.
radio that
6 by
is not
2.
super cheap is the 6X2. Yep. Steve has one. Ape has one. I has one. Chuck, do you got one?
No. I was shot down on mine.
Oh, is
2
that
S
code?
units is 12 dB.
That was code. Yeah,
was
because
code.
they're out of stock.
It's about $200 for a kit with a couple of batteries, a desktop charger, a
12 dBs.
12 dB, a police earbud, and it's an outstanding radio. It's an Anytone, basically. It's the same radio. Love it. Works great. Steve is apparently froze solid now. There are a ton of DMR radios out there. The problem you're going to have
a
is
good one that's cheap.
I don't know.
He should chime in here. I thought he had one that he said that wasn't bad as a cheap one.
He's got a
But he
6X2.
basically, I know he does, but I think he had another one that he thought was okay. That wasn't super expensive, maybe. But he'll also tell you to buy the 6x2 also.
I have an RT52, a Retevis, however you say it. And I believe it was a decent radio because I'm almost positive I tested it on the spectrum analyzer and it didn't suck. And I think I bought it brand new for $100.
You're back.
Now, Steve, what the GD88 is that DMR? Yeah.
And this one is full duplex. So the benefit to that is full duplex.
And we like that one because
it works really well. It's got a nice modern user interface and it's full duplex.
Okay.
But the ultimate cheap one is the RD5R from Baofeng, and I think it's like time slot 1 only or something like that. So you save money, but you get what you pay for, which isn't much.
Yeah.
I think that the connection to StreamYard from this area is bad because I just tried 2 different internet providers and both of them had trouble.
5-Star Gear says 5-Star Guns and Gear says the GD88 flash sale. He got 2 batteries and a programming cable for $200,
Yeah.
which is
And
similar to the
Radiotity now
6X2
makes
deal.
3 versions of that radio. They make the
45 has it.
GD88, that's an HT. They make the DB25D, which is a 25-watt little tiny mobile radio. It's about the size of an HT, but it's a mobile form factor, not a handheld form factor. And the brand new DB40D that they just announced a couple of weeks ago, which is a 40-watt version of that same thing.
So there's a question. We'll save that one while we're talking about DMR. I'm going to pop up
Right.
Edwards. Oh, you did.
I didn't touch it.
The Cotre DMR. I have one. I have glanced at it briefly. It's about $18. It is UHF only, if I remember correctly, and it does not come with a cable. So you got to buy a $20 or $25 cable for it, which puts you up into the $50 range. And for $50, you can buy a radio that has a little more features than the Cotre DMR radio. Now, I have one. I bought it because it was $18 and I have to see, but I haven't done anything with it. So,
This is funny. It's got to be a Motorola branded radio.
oh, it's a Moto. Pick a Moto, any Moto
Yeah.
that does Moto Turbo, that's DMR, and that's the most expensive DMR radio.
Motorola, you can buy a better radio, but you can't pay more.
That's right.
And you can't outrun it.
That's true.
Right. And
So
yeah,
Greg's
there we
going to
go.
be D-Star talking on car. That's soon. That's Saturday.
Saturday.
great.
My ice is making noise. Sorry.
Now Don just got a Motorola radio. He got an XPR 7550, which I'm
Yeah, but how
Just
old
chuck-
was it?
I'm just chuckling at in my head. Well, it's still sold. It's still in production, I believe.
Oh, is it?
But getting the CPS for it is exciting.
Yeah, he's having fun with that. Does that one do DMR though?
I don't know. I haven't looked that radio up that much. I mean, I know they sell it on Amazon as new, so that's all I know.
Yeah. So Ham Till It Hurts is asking me about my SMS gateway answer for APRS. I don't know 100% of what's going on. I know that the guy that did SMS GTE said that there's some, legal definition, quasi, illegality issue surrounding it. And rather than carry that torch, he just stepped back out of the way and somebody else jumped in for a minute. And I don't know if that project is still going or not, but there's some questionable legality as to whether or not you can do it. I don't see what the problem is. It's basically sending emails on the back end. And then finally it gets to some ham radio operator who's licensed, who then rebroadcasts it out over the APRS network, which then eventually gets you the message if you're within distance of an iGate and have beaconed lately. I don't understand why it would be illegal to do that, but you know how the government is. Thank you, Frank.
So,
No more
Dave
questions?
has that question, and this is going to take us well beyond our overtime limit. I have an ID51 and an ID5100A. Those are both ICOM radios, but don't really know how to use D-Star. Is there a better way to learn how to use D-Star?
oh
Don't know.
my Lord. Dave,
Saturday.
some
Saturday.
guys think D-Star is great, and technically it works quite well. Technically, it is a whole lot more complicated to set up than DMR or Fusion.
I should look to see what I have around here.
Chuck is our resident D-Star expert. He used to have hair. and
Chuck,
it
you
used
have
to
a
all be black.
705, and your 705 will do D-Star.
Yeah, I should.
Right.
I should see if I can hit something around here. I was going to see if we have
So-
anything close.
Liberty and Lee are both saying that spam is the issue, which is funny because apparently the government can't control spam calls, but they think they can control spam texts. Got
Yeah.
it.
Right.
That's
I think they have to meet the. It's got a fancy monocle
Portland.
too.
What the hell?
I can't-
Don, I
I
have a
can't-
video proving that I can do D-Star on it. I also have longer videos proving that I can't. So pick the shorter one. I got a D-Star in 5 minutes video.
Oh, I think it's got to meet the shake and stirred standard
There
for
we
that
go.
kind of stuff, which is something they're implementing for the cellular phone industry, blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't work because the government made it. So, yeah, shake and stirred.
Let's see. Well, Mount Diablo has one. Daly City has one. Santa Rosa has one.
And D-Star works really well, but it's a different paradigm, the way you set it up and the way you deal with it. And it's hard to, for me, it's hard to explain. I can drive my 9700, but I spent a lot of time fiddling with it until it did what I expected it to do. So, like with D-Star, you can originate the call on your radio through your hotspot, but you're actually originating. You can make it do this where you're keying up, but you're actually coming out of a repeater in London, local to some blokes in London. You can do stuff like that with D-Star. And understanding that whole to and from thing is the part that's somewhat confusing. And then D-Star also has a thing called terminal mode, which is different. And then the radios that do D-Star, which are ICOM or Kenwoods, don't exactly have the same terminology for the same thing. So there's DV mode, digital voice, and there's DR, digital repeater. And those are also not the same thing either on the same radio. So there's a lot of little weird gotchas. When it gets working, it works fine. And I don't know that it's any better or worse than DMR or Fusion. I personally think that the quality of DMR or Fusion is directly proportional to how much you paid for the radio. And I'm not picking on you, Edward, but if you're bitching about DMR sound on an $18 Cotre radio, then you get what you pay for. And then there's a whole lot of difference. Even the 6X2, which is DMR, but it's a couple $100 DMR radio, sounds fine compared to an FT5D on Fusion, and sounds fine compared to my Kenwood D74. It's just a function of how much you spend on the radio and how decent the speakers
And
are.
really,
The audio
6x2 is not all that expensive because it's a pretty
No.
decent radio, right? I mean,
No.
compared to look at the
The
top of line
6x2 has an
Yates or Icon.
enhanced. The 6x2 has an enhanced voice mode that sounds really good on DMR. Most of the time, people have turned their mic gain up way too high and they
way
sound
too
drunk.
much. Yeah.
Mm.
So turn it back
And-
down, and you won't sound as drunk.
They all sound fine. I mean, it's just a function of audio drivers, honestly. And then what Steve's talking about is somebody's got their mic gain way too up, way too high, or they're talking in their microphone,
Yeah.
So,
Now, Frank, this is an interesting statement. Hams have a reputation for being cheap, but hams spend the most money on the worst possible solution. So a ham will
you
go
mean
out
the
and he'll buy
radio?
like he'll go out and buy 17 cheap things to solve the problem when he could have bought one expensive thing and saved money and been on the air faster. So I'd say hams are stubborn and
Or spend
argumentative.
all your money on a $7,000 radio and not put a decent antenna up.
Right. Randall is
nailed
correct.
it there. Yeah, nailed it. And this goes to what Randall said. Yes, if you spend hours doing it over and over, you eventually get it to work. So, and it depends. If you have active D-Star in your area, then that's probably
Hey,
what you want to use.
You're talking over a hotspot, though, right? Not so much.
Either way.
Yes.
Either
about-
way.
How about is D-Star hard to work just to a repeater also?
Yes.
Oh, really? I'm gonna pull my 705 out and try it.
You rock on, son.
Do you have any repeaters, D-Star repeaters in your area?
I've got 4 that are probably reachable, no problem with my antenna.
So your
5
705, if you've done all of the
Would be
proper
10.
updates, you have GPS in there and you have a repeater directory. So you should be able to hit the DR button and turn the dial, cycling through the local repeaters that are already programmed in.
Oh, that would be most
Yep.
easier.
And you can get an updated list from probably dstarinfo.com, I think.
Or repeater
Of-
book.
Yeah. Well, I mean, an electronic file that you can put on the SD card and load to the radio. I don't know if you can do that on a repeater book or not. Maybe you can. I don't know.
Oh, Chuck has a tower. Yeah, Chuck a tower and a good 2-meter Moxon. You'll get D-Star for days.
Yep.
D-Star for dice.
The ones I can probably reach all the ones with my vertical here. My vertical's at like 40 feet, so it's not on the tower either. So
Scout,
it's on
exactly.
its own tower.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, Scout.
Well, well, well.
Hey, Joe Brett.
Mississippi in the house. Good evening, sir.
I should have
Joe
gone to
Brett-
Mississippi today.
Joe Brett
I went to
got caught.
Walmart in Louisiana, and I should have gone to Walmart in Mississippi. It's worth the 5-minute drive to get better customer service.
Is that where he bought his new radio at? The Walmart, or because he got caught?
Probably.
From what I understand.
Probably. I think that was faked up drama for internet points.
Oh,
Could be.
okay.
I was waiting for his wife to get really mad at him in the video. We talking about Joe
Hello,
Brett
Mama
still, right?
Noel.
Right.
Good to hear from you today.
I'm like old enough to be her grandpa. I'm not calling her Mama Noel. Hey, Noel, how are you?
Grandpa still has Mama, one rung down on the ladder, and then there's granddaughter. That's how that works, Jim.
What?
Your daughter's not old enough to be called Mama yet, but one day she will if you're still alive.
Right. No. My point was Noel is too young for me to be calling her Mama Noel. Now, see, in the South, if as a sign of respect, you could say Miss Noel, but we could all call her Miss Noel, but I'm sure she wouldn't like that either because that kind of indicates that you're younger than she is. So,
Yeah, it's hard to properly show respect to a woman.
Right.
They won't let you sometimes.
you're going to get in trouble either way.
Right. See, if I say something, I say this all the time to my wife. If I say something and it could be taken two ways and one of them hurts your feelings, I meant the other one.
Yeah. So,
Right.
It doesn't work, but I say that.
So our secretary at work one time was all dressed up like really nice, and I go, "Well, you look really nice today." She goes, "Well, what's that mean? What do I like? I don't look nice other days?" I'm like, never
Stepped right in it, Charles.
mind. Just walked
Oh,
away.
yeah. I said
Or
that
they
to
think-
somebody.
Go ahead.
I was being really like concerned, empathetic. I said, "You look tired today." What do you mean I look tired?
Right.
I meant like in the sleepy sense, not in the worn out sense. What? How did we get there? Projecting much? Anyway, the show went off the rails. Shocker.
I saw it scroll by 5-star Guns and Gear. We have a Discord. The link is pinned at the top, and I just posted it in the chat as well.
It's working.
That is the Toads Discord, where all the cool kids hang out. The friendliest place this side of QRZ. I don't know what he's yakking about. Elsie, what are you talking about?
That's
Didn't
Jim's
make it
nature.
Something too difficult. So
I
it's
don't know.
nothing new.
Probably because I said D-Star is complicated. D-Star is not complicated. Sit at your radio for 3 or 4 hours, figure it out, and then be happy that you got your radio working. Don't touch nothing. Now teach it to somebody. It's a whole different story.
Is QRZ friendly? Speaking of arguments, hey Jim.
Hey, Steve. Oh, you were talking.
Different Jim.
No, that's not that Jim. KB8N.
KB8N. Kyle's here.
Kyle just stopped in to say no CW Ops stream tonight. He's going to bed.
What?
He
He's
said
on
he
the
had a
list, man.
12-hour POTA, so I don't blame him.
12-hour.
That's a lot of work.
Wow.
Unless you are like in a mobile vehicle that's got mobile HF set up and you just like drive and make contacts as you drive out into the park and out of the park, get your 10 contacts and go to the next one,
I did that
which is
once.
legal. I'm going to do that eventually.
I got a buddy of mine in San Diego as I was just getting in, just almost ready to stop to start my POTA, but I got him off my truck, so that worked. Now you can't do that you can't do that in soda though. That's not legal.
No, you have to get out and be like 10 feet away from the vehicle. Nothing can be
I wish they'd
attached.
give you a actual how many feet away you had to be. Can't be in the vicinity. So
Just keeping you honest.
whatever that means.
Yeah.
Oh,
I need to get
Izzo
out.
says they're going to talk about D-Star and DMR tomorrow night on Clubhouse.
Nice.
Really?
Very good.
Talk about DMR first. It'll be easier.
You'll be done with that, and then you have the rest of the show to.
So do D-Star.
Yeah. Well, apparently Izzo uses it from his comments that he's been
Oh, does he?
dropping in the chat. And again,
Yeah.
I can use it. I've got my 9700 set up, and I got my D74 set up. But
I really haven't.
As far
used
as
it.
explaining it to somebody, no, I'm out. Good
And
luck. Go with God.
I really haven't used Fusion either. So other than
Joe Brett, this is why Izzo watches the show so he can get a topic for your show tomorrow night.
So you guys can talk about radio stuff, Joe.
so now you're set, Joe.
I need to get out and do a POTA in Mississippi and in Louisiana, but it has been too hot lately.
How hot is it there?
It was 96 today.
It's a little
96
hotter than
raw.
us. I forget what we were.
And then you have the humidity.
It's a tough crowd in here, Izzo. I mean, you kind of opened that can up on yourself, buddy.
What time does Clubhouse start tomorrow night? 7 p.m.
7p.
So get in at 8. A lot of people have said that Fusion has a better audio than the other modes.
I think I don't know. I mean, I have a 5D and it sounds great. I have a D74 and it sounds great. Neither one is a low-end radio. I had a 70D. I thought it sounded fine on the 70D.
Yeah,
So-
the 70D sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
I want to try since 10 meters somewhat back here off and on. I want to get on C4 FM, and there used to be a net,
Yep.
and the guy wasn't too far from me. Might not
And
work for 10 though.
And you could do, there's some C4 FM thing, on 10 meters.
Yeah,
Like
10
on
meters.
29.4 maybe? I can't remember.
You could probably do 6 too. I think it's the
Yeah.
bands that have repeaters, right?
Yeah,
Something
I
that.
believe
there's
that's correct.
some kind of law about that.
There hasn't been any bugs here to speak of. They're just
Really?
not interested. Yeah.
Too hot. Too
Mhm.
hot, man.
Fusion is a P25 ripoff.
It's a cousin.
I think they're all cousins. They all use that same chip.
Well, they're all very close in the way they do things. And someone, well, I don't know where it went.
Yeah, I saw gator signs at the Florida POTA we did, the Toads POTA before Orlando Hamcation.
Gators.
The truck is not running yet, LC, but soon.
There used
Parts
to
are
be
in
a guy.
hand.
There used to be a guy in Florida. He used to do a lot of POTA activations in Florida, and every once in a while he'd show a gator or something out there. But he quit. I don't know. Something happened. He got mad at the community or something and quit doing it.
Yeah, I'm not that worried about gators. I'm more worried about humans.
Right. Okay.
Well, we're kind of out of questions. We stalled on questions, so I think we can wrap the show up here. Chuck, thank you for joining. It was good to have you tonight.
I had to make sure my stuff worked after working on my computer yesterday. So
Chuck
every time I
put in
try
memory.
something,
Chuck put in memory all by himself, and we are all very
Bless his heart.
proud. Very proud
man,
of
you know what? Part of my just cleaning the computer probably was a good thing. There was
Does
a
it sit
lot
on
of
the
dust.
floor? Is it dusty? Yeah.
It's not on the floor, but it's only like an inch or two off the floor. So
You have carpet there?
no,
Oh, yeah, so you're lucky. Carpet's
You have
worse.
You have dogs though, right?
I had dogs, but I didn't see much of that. I didn't see dog hair. Just like really super
It's
fine
just-
dust.
It's just dust, man. The fan sucks
Like-
all the time.
It's like if you pull
Yeah.
you pull sheetrock down and that dust that comes out, or you pull carpet up, the dust that's underneath the carpet. That's what it looked like. Kind of.
This
It
is a
came
good
out really
question.
easy.
What's the best antenna? I think if you go to coffeeandhamradios.com, you'll find a nice selection of antennas right now. We have a linked dipole, the Mercury. We have an end-fed half wave, the Apollo, and we have the 9-to-1, which is, what do we call that one? The Aries?
Aries.
Aries. That's actually
Yeah.
Ape's favorite. The best all around is probably the Mercury, but people don't.
Chuck's a big linked dipole fan.
Well, dipoles are just a little bit more efficient.
But the more direct answer is what's the best antenna is the one you have in the air is
right.
the best antenna. And then you'll find out what's missing, what doesn't work the way you want it to work, and then you can start making some adjustments and some tweaks to get a better connection. Some things you won't ever get a connection like North Dakota, South Dakota, because there's no hams there.
Right. Nebraska either, I hear. So, Charles, what is the power rating on our antennas? They're all 100-watt voice and 50 digital.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Officially, what would you tell somebody? Not Chuck pushing the edge of the envelope.
I would say the Aries and the Apollo are 150 on digital. I'm not quite sure on the link dipole because it just has a 1-to-1, so it might do more. I've never tested that one for some reason.
And the Aries, the Aries is a little more compact than the other two, right?
Yeah, it's 41 feet.
Yeah, less wire.
Oh, yeah, he says 100 digital for the Mercury. That's what I was thinking.
That makes sense.
It's not doing anything. It's just blocking, right? It's not transforming.
I'd say paracord, Todd, but you're asking Chuck.
Is that other Florida Todd?
Hey, Todd, the antenna I sent
this
you.
is
How's
Hawaii
it working?
Todd.
Hawaii Todd. Okay.
Hawaii Todd. Yeah, I sent him an antenna. I wonder how it works. He was
Tim, we have asked Don.
setting it
Don's
up.
had his out a couple of times. Well, folks, I'm hitting the button. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been a fantastic show and could not have done it without you guys at home in the chat and without you two here on the stream. Much appreciated. We will see you Thursday night. I don't know what our show for Thursday night is. If you're a supporter of any of our channels, we will see you Wednesday night for the private supporters only meeting. There is a join button below our handsome faces, or you can join on Patreon, and then you will get the links to join the private hangout on Wednesday night. We'll see you.
Hey, before you hit the button, Gray Man, go watch Michael's KB9 VBR's last POTA he did with our antenna and watch how much DX. The guy had like 6 or 7 DX stations.
Yeah.
From Wisconsin.
We're going to talk about the clubhouse on Thursday. Awesome. Perfect. See you there. Click.
See you guys.
Bye, guys. Awkward time.